So you've kind of forgotten about Ukraine because the world is ending elsewhere. But you don't want to look like a thicky dum-dum in front of all your mates. Here's a quick update before you're illegally invaded as well. As you probably know, Ukraine is here. It's massive and it's been fighting Russian forces ordered to invade it by Dracula's cousin Vladimir Putin for the last 4 years. The main bit that's being fought over is this little chippy that's actually quite a big chippy. Closer, wider, closer, wider. Now you'll remember that the crusty orange tosser Donald Trump said that he was going to end the Ukraine war really easily.
If I were president, and I say this, I will end that war in one day. It'll take 24 hours.
Well, here we are 12 months after he made those comments, partly because Donald Trump appointed a former property developer, Steve Witkoff, to lead the peace negotiations for the Ukraine war. A man who can't even remember the names of the regions that make up the Ukrainian chippy currently being fought over.
Donbass, yes. Crimea, the names Lugansk, and there's two others.
But this weekend just gone, the Ukrainians, Russians and Americans actually met in Abu Dhabi to have the first three-way peace negotiations since the start of the war. Now Putin wants to freeze the chippy where it is and gobble it up into the massive fat fryer that is Russia. And Ukraine are like, fuck that, we want our chippy back because it's ours. Meanwhile, America are trying to invade the rest of the fucking world. Sorry, I mean murder their own citizens. Sorry, freeze the front line where it is, which is an option nobody likes. Stay with me. The section of Ukraine that's currently central to the peace negotiations is this little bit of the chippy called the Donbass. Now the Russians are like, if we're going to agree to a peace deal, then we want that bit, but the Ukrainians are like, we still control bits of the bit, and the Russians are like, I don't care, and America are like, maybe we should invade Greenland. The thing is, Ukraine need America to provide these things called security guarantees, which basically means the American military will step in if Russia decide to invade Ukraine again. Which the Americans are quite reluctant to do, because they're like, well, why don't the Europeans just do that with their armies? To which the Europeans are like, we so poor, we don't have good armies. Despite that though, the UK and France have said that they would station troops in Ukraine to guarantee a peace. But there aren't really enough of them. Stay with me. So instead, European countries have suggested confiscating the money and assets of Russian billionaires in Europe in order to help fund Ukraine's military and public services. But then other European countries are like, hang on, if we start confiscating money, then maybe other countries like China will stop investing in Europe because they'll be worried that we'll take their money if they do something mental like invade Taiwan. So the Europeans aren't using Russian money and they've instead given Ukraine a loan. Anyway, while all of this is going on, Russia continues to launch drone and missile strikes against Ukraine's energy infrastructure, plunging millions of innocent Ukrainians into darkness in minus 20 degrees Celsius temperatures, essentially weaponizing the weather. Oh, and Russia have also been bombing innocent people on fucking trains. Now, the reason all of this is important is because in a weird way, the Ukraine war is allowing Donald Trump to act like a fucking psychopath because the Europeans need the Americans to police the peace, which makes it difficult for them to stand up to Trump when he does mental shit like invade Venezuela and put fucking tariffs on everyone. Anyway, the peace negotiations ended with no agreement, but there's going to be more next weekend, and it's very important we continue to show solidarity with the Ukrainian people who have suffered immensely at the hands of this pasty undead ghoul. By the way, if you like theatre, there's a play about Ukraine's Donbass region called Donbass, which is on at Theatre 503 in Clapham, London, which I am going to because I hear it's excellent and you should go too.